The most stunning thing about it. We're joined tonight by Mike Hammond, and he is with the Gun Owners of America. And Mike, I appreciate you giving us some time tonight. How are you?
Thank you for having me. Hello, Mark, and hello, St. Louis.
Well, thank you very much. We're I watched when I first heard that part of the story, that because I'm thinking there was so much time elapsed from when the shooting started. These guys are lollygagging around on the street. They finally get back in their car after looking around, and they drive off. And I'm thinking, now in America, there's not a chance they would have gotten halfway down the street. But in France, things have just gotten out of hand over there, clearly.
Well, in a lot of places in America, those dozens of office workers who were scrambling onto the roofs, rather than just having cameras, there's a possibility in America that one of them would have had a gun. And had he had a gun, there is also a possibility that that carnage would have come to an abrupt, unlamented end.
Well, and the gun grabbers are still on the offensive around here. I read an article the other day from former Congresswoman Gabby Gifford saying that her organization, despite the setbacks in November, still plan to try to move ahead and get changes in gun laws in America.
Good luck on that. Yeah. I don't think she's going to have much success, and I don't think Bloomberg's billions are going to buy gun control in this country, not if we have any say on it. But and France is an example of that. It's a country which has the laws that Gabby Gifford wants. It basically is impossible to own a firearm in France. You have to be an active member of a sports shooting club and spend all of your year filling out massive amounts of paperwork and being investigated. So France bans guns, and yet as France found out, its gun ban didn't prevent criminals from having guns. As a matter of fact, there's not just 3, but in fact probably about 1,000 known terrorists in France, all of them armed, and when they start shooting in any context, in Paris, Marseille, or wherever, the French people are sitting ducks as a result of their gun control.
Yeah, my understanding was that because of previous threats to this newspaper, the editor had a guard there at all times, but apparently he wasn't armed, and he was one of the ones that was killed in that group of folks. So,
and it doesn't appear that the policeman was armed either. Mm-hmm. A lot of the French police don't carry arms either. And so even if a gunman opens fire in a context in which police are present, they're still sitting ducks. France has the gun control that Mike Bloomberg wants to achieve in this country, and we have seen within the last few days how vulnerable it makes the population.
Well, it's very true. You know, here in St. Louis, of course, we still sit in the center of this Ferguson debate, and with our legislative session just getting underway down in Jefferson City, Missouri, there's already a push underway to try to change policing. And in many cases, no matter how you look at what those ordinances would do or the changes to the law, it's about changing the rules of engagement for police officers who very often have to make split-second decisions that can be life or death for them.
Well, I have an interesting story. In 1968, I was going to college in St. Louis, and I was in ROTC, and we 18-year-olds would stand out, a platoon of us, in civilian clothes on Big Bend Boulevard with our semi-automatic rifles in our hands as the traffic passed on Big Bend. And it didn't occur to anyone in 1968 that we were going to shoot up our school. Later in 1968, they passed the Gun Control Act of 1968, and Lyndon Johnson signed it. So I would ask you, how did that work out?
Yeah, exactly.
It presaged a decade and a half in which murder rate and crime absolutely went through the ceiling, partly as a result of the proliferation of drugs, but every jurisdiction that passed gun control, the District of Columbia passed in 76 and saw the murder rate skyrocket to 300, 400, 500 murders a year.
Wow.
And as a matter of fact, in 1996, Congress passed a law saying it's illegal to have a gun in any elementary and secondary school. A couple of years later, Columbine. Since then, there have been nothing but a nonstop series of copycat killings in one school after another, probably generated by this press frenzy and attempts by the liberal media to use tragedies as a means of achieving gun control. The history of gun control has been a history of unsuccessful and, I think, disingenuous efforts to control gun violence, which have only resulted in a platform for the next gun control demands.
Well, thank goodness we've got groups like Gun Owners of America up there fighting for us when some of this cockamamie stuff gets into the legislative arena. We appreciate that. And people can go to gunowners.org to find out more about your organization, but I would certainly encourage them to do that, just because if you're going to be a part of a group and contribute to the fight against some of these crazy gun ordinances, GOA is a good place to do it.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Mike Hammond, it's a pleasure talking to you, and have a good weekend.
Thanks, Mark.
All right.
Thanks, St. Louis.
Thank you very much.